I'm Swanee Rassmussen, and I was born and raised right here in Sand Creek. And I went to the Colfax Elementary School, the old brick school, and I went to first grade there. And,
Anything about your family?
Your parents, siblings?
oh yeah. Well, I was just an only child, so I suppose I was spoiled. I didn't think I was spoiled, but other people did. Because I had oranges to school when other people didn't have oranges. And I used to beg for oranges to take with me so I could trade it for lefse from the Seth Peterson family. They had the best lefse. Their mother made lefse. And she sent a whole dinner pail full of lefse so I could have lots of lefse. And I'd bring oranges along, and that would work out good. So.
Elaine?
Your maiden name, too.
Elaine
Yes.
Sparby Toycen, and I didn't come to Sand Creek until I was about 7. My mother and dad lived in Minneapolis. He was a streetcar conductor, but in his heart he was a farmer, and in no way was he going to stay in Minneapolis. So my mother and dad, my dad was Oscar Sparby from Arkdale, Wisconsin, and my mother was Evelyn Hampson, who lived on the county line. Hans Hansen and Rena Hansen were her parents. Let's see, I think I was in first grade when my mother and dad bought a farm, Auburn Valley. I went to grade school at Auburn Valley School, and that's the one on 64, close to where Clyde and Jan Allison now live. I was there, let's see, I went there to about maybe 5th or 6th grade, and then it was a terrible farm. But my dad was so eager to get into farming that both he and my mother did not make a good decision. It was rocky and it was hilly.
Oh dear.
Those were Depression days, and so they lost it. But we were allowed to keep the personal property. Then we moved on the county line. My mother grew up on the county line. How can I describe that? Well, we didn't live there right away. We rented a couple farms in the area. And then my 2 uncles, who lived on the home farm, and I'm just not sure what happened, if they lost the farm or if they decided to move. And there's no one living that I can ask today. So we ended up on my mother's home farm. And the farm is located across from Vernon Madison's.
Oh.
I think that's enough for now.
I was born north of town. And
And your name?
my name is Mae Sparby. I was born on the farm north of town and I lived there for many years, except I was in Minneapolis for 8 years, and then came back to Sand Creek and lived on the farm again. Otherwise, I went to school at the Sand Creek School, 8 grades, with the same teacher for the first 4 years.
Oh my.
And then 3 years I had the same teacher, and the 8th grade was a new one that started an orchestra. So that I played the sax.
Wow.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Well, please identify who your parents were.
Garfield and Mabel Ness, Rude Ness. She came from Minnesota, so Henning, Minnesota.
And Swanee, would you do the same for your parents?
My mother was from Colfax, and she had gone to the county normal school where she taught 8 grades. Then she came to Sand Creek to teach in I believe it was the lower grades, and she taught with a lady by the name of Dallas Anderson, and she liked her very much, and they became good friends, and somewhere along the line, my dad phoned her, so they got married in 1922.
And your father was?
My father was a farmer. He had been in the army, in Camp Grant. He was always talking about Camp Grant. He was so proud that he had driven a car for the lieutenant. He thought that was big stuff.
And his name was?
His name was Sophus Martin Norm. And I still have Martin's coffee grinder at my house. I grind real coffee and that.
So, are there any significant incidences in your childhood that like playmates? Did you have friends who were your friends?
Dorothy Madison, who lived across the road from us. We were good friends all through high school. Grade school, the county line grade school.
And I was friends with the Hendrickson and the Hovland. They just lived down the road a little ways. And so it was a take turn. Can I go to Hovland's house to play a little while, or can I go to Hovland's house? What did I say? Hendrickson's house to play a little while. And we had playhouses all over the place. Oh, we had a playhouse on top of the machine shed. And we had a playhouse in the shack back in the woods, and a few things like that. And I had Thora Flecky for first grade, and I didn't like her. The only teacher I didn't like. Well, no wonder I didn't like her. She wouldn't let me go to the bathroom when I needed to. And once I had to go to the bathroom so bad. Pretty soon there was a little puddle under my desk, and I wasn't very happy about that. And I don't know what I did about it, but I wasn't very happy, I know that. That's an embarrassing thing among other children.
Oh, absolutely.
But then when I got to second grade, I really liked school. Her name was Dagny Olson, and she even gave piano lessons, and I got to, well, before that, I took piano lessons from a Mrs. Buchanan, but I took 3 lessons, and I told my mother, well, that 3 is enough, I don't need any more. But I did get more lessons, yeah.
And Mae?
Incidents?
Well,
Whatever.
friends from
Oh,
childhood.
Betty Hendrickson, I guess, would be the closer one. That's all Pearl Olson, Harleston, and Gloria Thornby, Adeline Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so all in the same. Well, Betty was older a little, but the others were in the same class as mine.
So, tell us about your school experiences. You told some, Swanee, the rest of you, tell about school experiences. Did you walk to school?
We walked to school 2 miles in the morning and home at night. And softball is what we played and really enjoyed it. And on Sunday afternoon, now it would be right across from David Hagen was a ball diamond.
Oh.
And that was where we played ball. It was Dorothy and Dode and I, my sister Doreen and I, who were the only girls, and we got chosen first because we were good players.
You were good play.
We were pitchers and hitters.
Oh.
And we looked forward to Sunday afternoons
Why?
because we all played ball and had such a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I might tell you too that my teachers, I was in probably 7th grade when I came to County Line School, and it was Ellen Elson,
Oh, yes.
and we liked her very much.
Mm-hmm.
And Myrtle Foss, I remember her, she was a good friend. Gilman Anderson, Torfin Hansen, that's a few of us.
And Mae?
I guess I remember playing on the swings. I didn't play ball, I don't think. Basketball in the gym. But swings and slides and I'm not sure what else. I just don't remember ever playing ball.
Did you walk to school also?
We did. Part of the time, I know my dad took us to, so.
How many children were in schools that you went to? Was it a one-room school?
With 2 rooms,
2
upper,
rooms.
or elementary and upper. Mr. Bradford had the big room, like we called it, and our room we called the little room.
A one-room school, grades 1 to 8. And I suppose there might be around 30 kids. Outdoor bathrooms,
Oh, yeah.
shoveling snow.
So you helped out the teacher by shoveling snow.
Well, I didn't, but I'm sure some did. Some of the boys perhaps.
Mm.
At any time, did you cross-country ski to school?
No, I didn't.
I remember my mother saying she went to County Line also.
Oh, that's right.
And
She was
said
a
she was
Hanson.
Torfin Hanson's older sister. And she would ski across.
Mhm.
That they would go from, and the Hanson farm was not that far away from County Line.
Mm-hmm.
So where did you go to high school? Did you all go to high school?
I went to Chautauqua for 4 years and graduated when I was 17. Then I went to Minneapolis, there for 8 years.
And did you go to school in Minneapolis?
I went to Minnesota School of Business, but I lived on the Augsburg College campus because my mother knew the president at that point. So I could live there and take a bus downtown. And later years, I worked there too for the public relations secretary, for the public relations director, and for the president. So,
For whom did you work in Minneapolis?
Lutheran Brotherhood and Augsburg College for the, like I said, 2 places. And then I moved on, thinking the university paid more. I was secretary to the dean of the College of Education at the university. The last job I had, yeah.
I went to Colfax. I went on the bus. The buses went to Chautauqua and Colfax in those years.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of the kids went to New Auburn and any other place. But that, was,
It wasn't consolidated, it was whatever area you lived, where
it
you chose.
eventually was
You could
consolidated.
go where you wanted to
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Mhm.
I had a chance to go to Colfax. My dad and mother thought I should go to Colfax because I had a grandmother that lived in Colfax. And for some reason, I didn't eat my lunch. I ate my lunch at her house, but I carried my own dinner pail with a thermos of milk and sandwich and fruits. And we'd have, just before noon, we'd have, we called it some kind of a music class. Anyway, I walked with Mary Conway as far as her house, and then from her house I went up the hill to my grandma's house. And then I liked that. And well, then later, my neighbors, Harriet Henriksen and Elder Dublin, they said, "Oh, why don't you change to Chautauqua? It's so much more fun to go to school up there." And I thought, well, maybe I should. Well, then my dad didn't think I should change. He thought I should stay in Colfax where I was. But my mother said, well, if she wants to change, let her change. And I guess it kind of changed my personality. And I really liked going to Chautauqua.
So you graduated from
And then
Chautauqua.
I graduated from Chautauqua in 1941. Yeah.
And?
I went to Colfax for 4 years,
Yeah.
and I was homecoming queen.
Oh, big stuff. I can believe it.
Well, and then, and that's, no, I think that's enough for now.
No, tell us more about high school years.
Well, they were fun, and I liked my teachers. And, you know, bus, we had a good bus ride every morning. Oh, and by the way, Roger Bain was our first bus driver. And then Elaine Toycen. He didn't go to high school right after 8th grade. So he told me this. He said to his mom and dad, and also Irene heard it, I'd like to go to high school, but he was really needed on the farm. And so Irene said she was working in Minneapolis, going to Bible school and working. Oh, she said, I'll come to the farm for 3 years, and I think you should go. So then he started high school, and he took the 4 years and 3 years. So we graduated together. But we were not dating at that point.
So that brings us to, that's a good segue, all of you married. How did you meet the men you married, and what was the transition there?
Chuck was a member of the congregation, so I'd see him. And then when I was in the cities, he was our milk hauler in the farm. So then I'd see him every weekend. And then we started dating because he asked, and that's how.
And what year was that?
I don't remember. I was married in 52.
Yeah.
So it was before that, yeah.
I have to backtrack a little bit.
Okay, please do.
Because when I finished high school, I was determined into going into nursing school. And, you know, money was tough, and no way could my mother and dad do it. They thought I worked in the farmer's store in Sand Creek for 1 year. They thought I should keep on working for another year. But I can't believe it now, but I was just determined that I was going. So I went to my bachelor uncle, who was living on the farm, and asked him if he would borrow me money that I could start school in the fall. I don't remember the amount. I don't think it was $500, but I can just see him pulling out $100 bills. And so it's because of that I went into nursing, and it was a very fulfilling profession for me.
And what was his name?
Henry Hansen. He and his brother, Henry and Vernon Hansen, farmed the Hansen farm. He was a milk hauler. And then eventually they got older, and Henry died, and Vernon met his wife-to-be and left the farm and moved to Stanley. So then my mother and dad came to the home farm.
And what was the situation for you and Laverne to start courting?
He took me, my first day of nursing school, I had to register and fill out applications. And you know, Laverne always had a car. So he offered to take me. And then we didn't date right away, but eventually that's what started it.
Yeah.
He had a car.
Yes.
And what year were you married?
We were married in 45.
And Swanee?
Oh, I had kind of a dull life. I didn't have any boyfriends. I wanted a boyfriend like everybody else. So I thought, well, I guess my folks kept some kind of a religious paper, and there was a nice article in there by some fellow by Arnold Knudsen. I thought, oh, I think I'll write to him. And then I wrote to him, and he wrote back, and then later on, he had a girlfriend in Chicago, but I don't know whatever happened, but they weren't getting along so well. And his mother said, why don't you check on that girl in Wisconsin? Maybe that won't amount to anything. So he invited me to come to Chicago, for a few days, and I went. And my mother let me go, which was unusual in those days. you know, and,
Yes, spending a weekend with a boyfriend you didn't
yeah,
know.
well, but I was at his parents' house. And, anyway, that turned out, well, then it turned out we knew a lot of the same people. I knew Reverend Norheim in Eau Claire and his two sisters. I don't know why they went to California, but they did. And they thought, oh, this is great, we know all the same people. So then that kind of made it for me. So I was kind of lucky. But then, in March of that year, don't you suppose, he was on a training flight. He was on maybe he was a gunner on a plane. Don't you suppose the plane went down and he was killed in that plane. So then I was no boyfriend anymore.
So that was during World War II?
Yes, I guess it would be that, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then in the meantime, I wanted to be a nurse too, like Elaine, but I thought it was too expensive to go. My mother said, "Why don't you teach?" She had been a teacher, and I thought, well, if I get to go to college, that's okay. So I went to college in Eau Claire, and I roomed on Garfield Avenue, and I had a roommate. Her name was Gert Leesom, and her dad was a doctor. Well, my mother used to send a box of food every week. Oh, she'd send hamburgers already fried, and then she'd send a pie, but this Gert, she brought a loaf of bread. But I mean, sandwiches anyway. And then the funny part of it was, don't you suppose the lady that managed the house kind of liked her drinks a little bit too much. We behaved, but she didn't. And she'd get drunk every so often. But we kind of didn't want to tell on her because she was so good to us. That was it.
So now your married name was Rasmussen, so you must have married someone.
Oh, I did. Then I forgot about that. Anyway, I met, how was this? I can't even remember. I met this cousin of Arnie Klutz's name was, what was his name anyway? Arnold Klutzen. He was my first boyfriend. And then I know, Carl Rasmussen and his mother and sister came to Chicago for a funeral, and I happened to go there for the funeral too, and that's how I really met Carl. And then in September, he came to Sand Creek and just kept on going. And then he wanted to give me a ring, but I mustn't do it too early, so.
So you took the proper amount of time
Yes, I did.
to court.
Yeah.
And tell me about your families.
You talking to me?
Well,
Or any
one
of
of
us?
you.
First of all, what year were you married?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What year were you married, Swanee?
Oh, I married in 1956.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now tell about your families and where, all of you raised your families in the Sand Creek area. Tell us about that.
I didn't do so well because I only had one. But she was a good one. And,
You didn't throw her back, huh?
Oh, my, no, I kept her. Yeah.
She was a keeper.
Yeah, she was. So it turned out pretty good.
And where did you live?
I lived in Sand Creek on my parents' farm. Dr. McCormick came and delivered me on a cold January morning. It was 35 below, but I survived. Mm-hmm.
And so did your daughter.
Yes. She was born in Eau Claire at Luther Hospital.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Elaine?
Well, I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. David is married to Diane, and they live in Toronto, Canada. Sue, the first daughter, is married to Jerry Favero, who lives with me on the farm. And then we live together in Mesa, Arizona in the winter. Gail, daughter number 2, married to Bill Warehouser. And then son number 2 is Dan Toycen, married to Mary Lind, lives in Chippewa Falls, and that's it.
And were all of your husbands farmers?
Well, Laverne was a farmer, but he was also an automobile dealer. But he really loved farming. And, but a lot of his time was selling. He loved to sell. Someone said he could sell straw hats to Eskimos. And they had a name for him too, but no, I better not say that.
We had a bad name. We used to, his mother thought he was pretty great.
Oh, I know.
So she called him Bunny Boy.
Oh, yeah.
And Mae,
We forgot the question.
Your family.
tell us about your family.
Yes. We had 4 children, and the oldest, the second one died when he was 8 years and 6 months. His name was Gregory Allen, A-L-A-N. And our oldest son was at Chetek High School. He died on the way home from school one day. The ball game was canceled in Eau Claire, so coach canceled it, and he came home instead of going to Eau Claire then. Anyway, and then Michael, the third one, is a Lutheran pastor at the Edison Park Lutheran Church in Chicago. He's been there 4 years. Before that, he was at Forest Lake, Minnesota for 25 years at Hosanna. And my daughter, Mary, is living in Hudson, and her granddaughter lives in Hudson. She lives in Hopkins, Minnesota. And she works with 3 attorneys in the Calhoun Beach Club right now. And I have some grandkids too.
And do you have any stories to tell about them about your families in Sand Creek?
I can't help but mention Myron Park, because over the years, we bought Herman Hublett's farm, and that's right across from the park. And our kids had wonderful times at Myron Park, as well as a lot of the neighbor kids.
And we rode on a ferry between the mainland and the island. And dear Benny, he was so good to us. He bought silverware, and he bought so that we could really picnic on this island.
Well, the island wasn't it even a bowling alley?
Oh, I think
over there for the kids?
Oh yeah, he did everything.
And horseshoes? The men would play
sure,
horseshoes?
sure.
There was,
Yeah.
Lots of picnics, church, family. Yeah, we would remember the celebrations, the threshing.
Oh, yes.
That we had, it would be at Myron's. And people would come together, and there'd be threshing and
Yeah.
What is threshing?
threshing oats.
Yeah.
Wheat, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was so important that my husband's relatives came from Iowa just to get in on the threshing days at Myron's. That was pretty nice.
There was a few years that we had a special threshing day at Myron's every year, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe we
Yeah.
did. Now that you mention
Yes,
it.
because Benny had the steam engine
Oh, yeah.
threshing machine.
And he worked so hard for the parade one year. He, those metal things, and he put wood between everything so he wouldn't ruin the blacktop. That took a lot of work and time.
Oh, the metal things were the cogs on the,
Yeah.
the grippers on the tires, yes,
Yeah.
the metal tires.
So they didn't have rubber tires then. Well, they were too expensive too, I
Well,
suppose.
tell us more about threshing. That's quite an event. at least I remember it as quite an event, because I peeled more potatoes for threshers than I can count.
Yes, it was, serving day was something. I even remember baking a cake in the morning when I was getting the dinner ready for the
Did
threshers.
you really? Oh,
yeah.
my God.
And they ate on our porch. We had a table, kitty corner. They
Yeah.
filled the table. It was busy. Yeah.
Well, they would cut the grain and then put it in shocks.
Mhm.
And once in a while, you would have someone that really didn't know how to shock. And
Because you had to spread it.
Do it just
stand-
right.
Mhm.
They looked like little teepees.
Yes, that's right.
Mhm.
And then you would pick them up on a wagon pulled by a tractor and bring them into the threshing machine. And then the straw and the seed would be separated.
Separate.
Then I remember the fellows carrying the grain
Oh, yeah, into the granary.
into the granary, just
Cool.
heavy sacks.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Chuck was hauling milk then, and he used to have some milk haulers come and help him shock in the afternoon. So that was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, for a significant incident in your life, was there something that happened to you that was a turning point? Actually, Elaine has sort of said one. Is there
I think
another?
so.
The
That's what
500
came
or
to
the money that
yeah.
your uncle gave you?
Mhm.
Would-
And by the way, I paid him back.
Oh.
I paid him back
Fantastic.
before I got
Oh.
married. I said to Laverne, I'm not getting married until Uncle Henry is paid.
Oh. I
And he
did.
didn't charge me any tax.
No interest at all. And Swanee, where did you do your teaching?
I taught 2 years in Cameron, and that was my first year teaching, and I just loved it up there. My dad would bring me up on Monday morning, and I roomed at somebody's house by the name of Christine Amundsen, and I really liked staying at her house. And then we used the one where we taught, they had what they called a teacher's table, and kids behaved in those days. We could leave the kids at the school and they didn't do anything damaged. And we had a nice dinner at the cafe, kind of like here, teacher's table. And then we went just back to school. And we wouldn't dare do that, no. But we did have playground duty, so there wouldn't get any fights on the playground. So,
And so was there a significant or like a turning point in your life?
oh, yes. When I was teaching in Cameron, that's when I went to Chicago and I got a ring and I was going to be married that summer. That was pretty special.
Absolutely.
And my mother had to help plan the wedding. And Dad, of course. Yeah.
Mae?
I suppose basically when Greg died and when Mark was killed, that be the biggest things, I think. Yeah.
I remember when your sister Gert was married in February, you got to go to that wedding. And then you were married in April, got to go to that wedding. That was pretty nice that year. And I even played for her wedding. And it had been a real bad snowstorm about 5 days before.
Oh, yes.
But it didn't let that stop you.
Well, I was married April 5th and there was a snowstorm after we left.
Oh, was it really? Oh.
Yeah,
I was going to say, and that's a very good day.
yeah.
What,
And his parents were my closest neighbors. And I'd ask my mother, I said, are you sure you don't have to borrow some sugar or something because I wanted to go over there. You can't go over there, she says, they got the mumps. Well, anyway, finally I got to go. And I came home, I said, I went over there, I didn't see any mumps.
I'm sure that church has played a significant role in your life. Tell us about church experiences.
Well, I, was confirmed in Zion and then New Hope, where I was secretary for Pastor Hall and a few more for 18 years. So that was good. It was a real good time.
Yeah. She was enough younger than me. She was 4 years younger. So I was confirmed by, his name was Knudsen, Pastor Knudsen. And there were just 4 of us in the class. It was Anita Anderson, Doris Peterson, and Helen Jane Peterson, and then me, just the 4 of us. And,
They were all.
but we got confirmed on a hot August Sunday.
No air conditioning in those days.
Our class was all girls, and the one after us was all boys.
Yeah.
Anyway, on confirmation day, I would have passed out if the choir hadn't been telling me to get out. Guess I wasn't looking
Well, I
so hot.
fainted when I had my picture taken at Snyder's in Colfax. It was so hot down there.
Well, my parents were not church-going when they were married. They were both Lutheran, and so really wasn't much involved with the church. And then, let's see, I was trying to think. There was Sunday school and Springbrook School. The Martin Olsons, some of you will remember them, had Sunday school every Sunday in the morning. So my parents decided that we should go there, so that's where we started.
Wasn't there a tent in the schoolyard?
I
A
don't
tent in
know.
the schoolyard?
There may have
was,
been,
but
there may
I don't
have been,
remember.
I just don't recall that.
Don't you remember
What?
a tent in the schoolyard?
A tent at,
Oh, yes. We had a little church trouble then.
Well, where?
I mean, some
That was a-
people in the church didn't agree that we invited in this evangelist. That wasn't so good. You know, it caused hardship between the families. And I felt kind of bad about that, because I couldn't help it. I didn't know what my parents were discussing things, but that's the way it went. But it ended up better later.
when I married Laverne, they went to, well, it turned out to be Assembly of God, but it wasn't called that in those years. It was a chapel, and it was rather independent. So, you know, wives usually went the way the husbands were,
Absolutely, yeah.
even though the husbands many times did not go. It was the mothers and the children. But anyway, that's what I did for quite a few years. There was a chapel in Sand Creek and kept operating until it just didn't make sense. So then we went to Dallas, Assembly of God,
I forgot about that.
and then I think it was about in the 70s. Laverne said one day, he said, you know, I've been thinking it really would be good if we could go to church with our neighbors. Well, I said, I'm all for it. So that was when well, in fact, when the new church was built, is I think our first Sunday that we went to New Hope Lutheran. And we've been going there since.
The pastor of that church, Thomason,
Yes.
I used to ride back and forth from the cities
Oh,
with him
yes.
for $1 a trip.
You,
$1.
and that's something.
And he was in Bible college at that time.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I was at the university and he'd pick me up on the
Oh.
corner.
Very nice.
That quarter looks the same yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What about some of the businesses in Sand Creek? Do you remember, do you remember when Gilbert's Motors started? What about the cafe? Was it,
We didn't go to the cafe when we were teenagers.
Couldn't
There
afford to
there
go.
was
My
no
dad
money.
did.
Oh, he did he?
Saturday night coffee.
Oh,
Who owned the
no,
cafe when you grew up?
no.
Who owned it?
Pearl and Harlan,
Halsted, yeah.
Olson.
Olson, yeah.
Edna Olson.
Edna Olson, that's right.
And Hanson, Carl Hanson's owned it before that. Yeah. But I remember Olson's because Pearl was in my class, so we used to go upstairs.
So, you didn't, what about any other, can you tell us any stories about any other businesses in town, or?
Well, I remember, there were 3 stores at one time.
Yeah,
What were the 3 stores?
Mike, or Selmer Severson's grocery store on the hill,
yeah,
Snort and Norma's. They had the locker plant
yeah.
down where.
Butchering. And
And-
butchered
and
too.
Down by the
butchering,
river.
yes, and of course the farmer's store.
Yeah.
And they butchered too.
Yes.
I worked there, yeah.
Yeah, I know my mother had to make 3 lists. There was one list was for the farmer's store, the next list was for Salvers, we called it, and then the 3rd list was for North Store. So he had certain things we bought at each store.
Like what sort of things?
Well, that I don't know. All I know it was groceries.
Something was
For
cheaper.
the house.
Yeah, you went by price, I guess.
Well, yeah, I don't even know what the reason was.
And then there was a blacksmith shop, what's that?
Oh, yeah.
Ole
And Ole
Engen.
Engen, he fixed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And where was that?
Where
Where
Bud
the-
Hughes,
Yeah.
on the
Where
corner.
they're tearing it down.
Mm-hmm.
But Ole was behind where, what's his name lived?
Well, wasn't it where that, they
brown
tore
house.
down the mill? There was a knoll there and it was there on top of the
Oh, that was that too, but there was another one. Ole was behind,
Bud Hughes, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
on the north side of town.
Between Bud Hughes and
Yeah.
Art and Cora Anderson's house.
Yeah.
Well, next to it, because they were neighbors.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us more about the businesses in Sand Creek. You talked about the eggplant. How about gas stations?
I know
But tell about the eggplant on tape.
Vicky Minan's mother was Opal Winget, and Opal took good care of the eggs. They'd bring in great big, double cases of eggs. It was like, I don't know how much they were a dozen, but who knows. But anyway, she took care of that. And I think she did it by herself. And Eunice Paulson bought eggs over across the river. I don't know, can you remember anything else? I don't know.
Where was the eggplant? Where was the eggplant?
Right back in, in the center. I mean,
Oh, where the senior center?
Senior center right now. I mean, it probably was a different building at that time,
It was
but
a different building.
Yeah, I mean,
what did you
South.
that's
call
the
that?
location.
The hall.
Yeah, Woodman Hall we called
Woodman
it.
Hall, that's it.
It was a wood,
And
okay.
when they didn't have eggs there, they had old-fashioned revival meetings at night.
They had
And
roller
Aldrich
skating.
was there.
Yeah.
Roller skating.
Oh, I had roller skates later, and I didn't get to go. My dad wouldn't let me. I didn't like that.
He told Laverne he was gonna roller skate into heaven.
Poor
Maybe it wasn't heaven.
Oh, yeah, I was having. And I was kind of jealous because all the kids had so much fun. It was Phyllis and Dion and everybody. And then me, I didn't
It
get to
was
go.
fun.
It was.
My dad was so strict.
So why was it fun?
Because you saw a lot of kids your age. too,
Yeah.
for one thing.
And some of the boys would like to give you a little push and knock you down.
Charlie Dowell used to put the skates on, didn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who did that?
Charlie Dowell.
Oh, did he? Yeah, well, he was one. Betty used to say he chased her around. Betty Henriksen Olsen. Yeah.
Did you have any dances? Did they have dancing in St.
Oh,
Creek
my,
when
no.
you were there? No.
They didn't have dancers. That was.
If there were any, we wouldn't go.
We couldn't
wouldn't
go.
be able to go.
We weren't even allowed to go to a free show. Oh, yeah, you were, but I wasn't.
So where were the free shows? In town?
By the bank.
Between the bank and the farmer's store.
Where
Yeah.
the car lot is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did they have a screen or?
Oh, they were good westerns,
Oh,
I
I
was
guess they were
told.
good.
Were you
I
able to
saw
go?
some.
Oh, you did?
I think you got to go. I'm the only one that didn't get to do
No,
stuff.
we did not. It was frowned on.
Well, you from
Yeah.
on too? Well, I know I couldn't go.
May,
they
did you get
also-
to go?
Yes, I was,
They were also in New Auburn.
Oh, yeah, I
Pre-shows.
guess they were.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, do you have any memories of the war? Of like World War II?
All I remember is baking cookies and sending to, and John and Laura Hansen had 4 kids or 4 sons in the service, and they were over in Germany and Italy and well wherever it was, 4 places. So then we'd make cookies and send them. I guess they got there too. That was the best part.
Well, when I was in nursing school, the cadet nurse corps was in effect.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we all joined that.
Mhm.
A couple of the nurses went to army hospitals, but we could just stay home, and then we got a stipend. I think it was $15 a month,
Oh,
and we thought that was pretty good.
well, you might know.
I was at Augsburg working there at that time and in the office, so all these vets were coming back. And I
Oh,
happened to be
sure.
working with that, so.
Hmm. Oh yeah, and I went to summer school in Eau Claire at State College, and we had vets coming in too. Come to think about it,
Hmm.
yeah.
In fact, I think there were some, I don't know what branch of the service, that seemed to me they came to,
Yeah, some of them
date
even
the
got
nurses.
married.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned roller skating as one and movies for entertainment. Was there other entertainment?
Entertaining yourself, singing was at least in our family, we did a lot of it.
Hmm. Which was a good thing.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Did you dress up and
Oh, sure.
have Halloween parties?
Hmm. Our neighbor, Chris Larson, was very hard of hearing. So we would dress up, and this is years ago. Marie and Ruth Lining kept house for him,
Oh, that's right.
and so we would tell Ruth that we were coming down on Halloween, and she would dress up too, and we would just jump up and down on the porch trying to get Chris' attention. He never heard us.
Oh, he must have been really deaf.
He was.
Oh.
Seems like we did some mischief, but I don't think it was.
Who were these people that took the wagon apart and put it on top of my dad's barn? Was that Billy and Toddy Evelyn? Somebody
I
did.
think they were in on part of that.
Huh?
I think they were in
I
on
think
lots of
they
things.
were, yeah.
Up on top of the barber shop one year too.
Yeah. Oh, you never know what things are gonna look like the next morning or where they would be. So, that's true. That was kind of funny.
Something I remember
Yeah.
was EULA booking.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about that.
We went. My mother went with us.
What is it?
Yule is Christmas. Booking is what? Foolish?
Probably
Fooling, Christmas fooling,
I
yeah.
think that's what it was.
You were
Christmas
dressed
fooling.
up funny.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Waiting to be
You're almost
recognized.
dressed up like Halloween, except it was Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
When we, first year we were in town, Chuck and I,
Yeah?
Artis and Ray Gilberts came.
Oh,
It's the only ones, but they did come then.
oh, okay.
I remember walking from our place. This is when I was, still at my home. We all dressed up and we walked to Eddie and Cora Peterson. And then,
There was a road there then.
yeah, the
Yeah.
road was open and we went there. And then they had to identify us, and of course we had lunch.
Yeah. You lived pretty good then.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Good lunch.
With Christmas baking.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Sandwiches and everything, yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes we were offered all some kind of ale.
Oh, ale, yeah, my mother used to make that.
Yeah, I remember,
Ale.
yeah. That may have been alcohol too.
We didn't know that.
No.
Did you make homemade root beer?
Oh,
Yes.
sure, but that was another name for that ale.
Oh,
Basically, it was
Not really,
homemade root beer.
No.
I don't think it was another name.
No, it was just plain ale.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Oh,
made
root
with
beer.
yeast. They
Yeah.
used yeast in it. It was kind of peppy. Yeah.
uh,
Do you remember any major events like, do you remember?
One terrible fire was when the nest barn burned.
Oh,
Would that
Well,
been your
I
grandpa?
was 2 years old at that point.
Well,
But
I
it,
remember
too.
it because the fire trucks went by.
Yeah, my grandma Ness took us up to Casper Fields.
Yeah, right. And then I remember when Ragdoll, what was her name? Married, that was a big deal, married Casper Field. You know, neither one had been married and they must have been way up in their 50s, 60s. And she wore, put overalls on, and she really helped Casper. She was a good helpmate. So, that was pretty good. Quite a bit. And she'd been a nurse, too. And of course, then Hilda came and married Otto, and she raised...
Hilda who?
Hilda Wentland.
Hilda Svalastuen.
Hilda Svalastuen became Hilda Wentland because she married Otto, and she was a sister of Ragna, whatever Ragna was first, and she became Mrs. Field.
She was Swallowstone.
Hmm?
Rita
Swallowstone.
Svalastuen, yeah.
She was Swallowstone.
Oh yeah, right. She was a Svalastuen too. They both were. Hilda
Since they were
and Rena.
sisters.
Svalastuen sisters.
And
Yes.
then a brother.
Yeah, and then named
Ole.
Ole.
Ole. Yeah.
Ole and Ada.
He was
Ada,
such a dear, kind man. He wouldn't hurt a fly. He was so good. And I like Ole Svalastuen for a Sunday school teacher, but Judith Field, that was another story. And he always sat by the window. Well, nobody better sit there. That was his place. And that was in Zion Church. Well, on the east side of the church.
By a window.
Yeah, by a window, you're right. Yep.
That's it, where he sat.
I don't remember where he said.
Yeah.
So who had the farmer store when you were growing up? We need some farmer store memories.
Paul Gehring, I remember.
Freeman
Reuben
Anderson
Hovland.
was one.
Yeah, Reuben Hovland.
Mm-hmm.
And Reuben later, yeah.
Yeah, I worked at the store
Did
summers.
you?
Summers
Oh.
and at Christmas for
Okay.
inventory.
Okay.
So what kind of a store was it?
Oh, general
sold
store.
everything.
Yes, you could buy anything.
And everything.
Even a lutefisk at Christmas, I used to
Yeah.
go down
Oh,
in
yeah.
the basement and take care of
Regular
that.
groceries and,
Yeah, they butchered, they sold feed, yeah.
you bought everything there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. Jewel
Yeah,
Anderson
goods.
was there, and he was a
Oh yeah, he was a
fellow that
manager for
liked
a
to
while.
play tricks, and he would watch when we would walk in the locker, and
Oh,
he'd shut the door.
oh no, it got pretty cold in there.
It did.
Reuben Hovland we mentioned, didn't we? Paul Gehring too.
Yeah.
Was-
Everybody liked Reuben though, he was so a fine man, he really
I
a
guess I
fine man.
worked for Paul. when he
Yeah,
was there.
I did too, and I thought he was
And then later
A good
he
boss.
became manager at
was a Colfax.
Tech. Well, yeah, maybe they, and then didn't he get to be manager in Rice Lake?
Norman Anderson went to Cameron.
Well, that's who went to Cameron. Okay. Okay.
Paul, when Paul worked at the store, his wife Maria was cashier. And what's his name now? Across the river, Joyce Hoyland, Conrad Hoyland's
Oh,
father
Conrad, yeah.
would come and want to jump over the stairway to get in.
Yes,
He
he was
gave him a
another.
bad time.
Yeah, he was another trickster.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
What did he want to get into?
the office space where Muriel was. The
Con-
stairway went there at that point, so that's where he.
And was all the money in the office?
It
Yes.
was
I
there.
know, I
Oh,
Everything
that's
was
when
there.
they had those
Oh, yeah, then they went clear across, you know.
What was that went
Yeah,
across?
that one.
How do you describe it?
A money carrier anyway.
Yeah, that would be a small metal money
See, they put
carrier
our money
that
in
went to
there.
the secretary.
And then they make the change and then they send it back.
So when you worked there, you could not cashier. You would merely put the money in
In
this,
there, and then they would
send it on to the office.
That's
When
it.
I worked there, we wrote out slips.
Yeah, we did too.
Somebody else went to the desk and paid. We didn't.
So there was one cashier.
At that, when I was there. We cut meat and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Vera Teets was a secretary at one time.
Who was?
Vera Teets?
Oh, yeah,
Cashier,
yeah, she,
cashier.
Yeah, cashier.
and she married Vera Johnson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or married a Johnson anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about the phones?
Oh, little Teets.
When did you get phones in Sand Creek?
We
Did you
always
live
had
here
phones.
before, always had phones?
I have.
Yep,
I don't remember when we didn't.
we always had phones.
But it was a party line.
Yeah,
I remember when
9 or 10 on a line.
one of our children was born, I think it was Michael.
Yeah.
Mother hadn't told Dad about him yet, and Dad heard it on the line when he was listening to Ione.
Oh, no.
My dad, yes.
Oh, stop. Crazy.
Who was the central operator at that time? Do you remember? Telephone operator?
Little Teets.
Yeah, little Teets. Mm-hmm.
Little Teets.
Gloria Thornby worked there too.
Did she?
She
And
did.
then her mother again.
And Rennie worked there too.
And where was that
Carlson?
office? Where was that
Owner?
office located?
Next door to where I am, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so at your house there was phone business. Kind of it. In your house.
No, no.
I thought there had phone there was.
That's where Carrie lives now. Was a phone office.
Oh, I always thought it was your house.
No, mine has always been in my
Been a
family.
house, huh?
It's been my family too, that
Okay.
built it and, yeah.
So if there was a party line, could you hear everybody else's conversation?
The long and the short.
Oh,
Long
yours
and
was a
three
long.
shorts.
Three
short.
long, 3 long, a long and a short, short and a long,
Yeah.
1 long, 2 short. That was ours.
Someone would get a long distance call and then they would say, please, if you're on the line, hang up. I can't hear very well.
And then it was worse, because I got a call from my boyfriend in Chicago that I couldn't hear him. And then they tried to help me out. Well, you could have let me listen in the first place.
Oh, that's what they did too. They
dear.
gave you
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, they did.
I never,
What about electricity? Did you have electricity the whole time?
Oh, no.
I didn't.
I did.
We didn't.
Some people did, but not us.
I think,
When was that? When did
We
you-
just had lamps. Oh, pretty nice. We had gas lights.
yeah, the Aladdin,
Yeah.
the Aladdin
But then
lights.
we even had a pump upstairs. So
Oh.
we had one in the ceiling in the dining room and one in the ceiling in the living room. And then I wanted my dad to have that lit before the school bus so people would think we had electricity too.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we didn't. I just wanted them to think that.
So what year do you think you got electricity?
Oh, boy.
40s?
Oh, yeah.
Must have been the early 40s.
After I graduated from
You
high
must have
school.
had it before
Huh?
then. We
I don't think so because
Some
we,
families did, but we didn't.
we always did.
Yeah, I know you did, but I wasn't one.
We didn't have a bathroom though until after I left for the cities.
I know.
No, that's-
What do you mean, no bathroom?
No
We had a
bathroom.
toilet outside.
We just
But
went
we
to
had
the
a cement
outhouse.
walk to it
Oh,
and steps.
Had a
It
cold
was
out there.
attached to another building. Yeah.
how
Oh,
about doing laundry?
well, that was a big job.
Mondays.
Sunday night, we pumped the boiler full of water and put it on the kitchen stove. And then Monday morning, that would be nice and hot for the washing machine.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 2 tubs of rinse water. I think the first water was brewing, and then we had just plain water.
Mm-hmm.
And
That bluing was like a bleach?
I don't know what it was, but it was supposed to make them white and nice.
Yeah, that's what I,
That's all I know.
And,
Ringer
oh,
washer.
okay, a wringer washer.
Mhm.
How did that work?
And then you had to wind it too, by hand. I did anyway.
It
You know,
worked good,
yeah.
when that was what we had, it worked fine.
Yeah.
Did you
But that
hand
was
pump
electric.
your water? Do you have a motor on your water? Yeah. How did
We had
you get the
pump
water?
on
Outside pump.
Outside pump, sort of a big square thing, and out you go to the door, you had a pail, and then hang it on a pump, 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 pump,
Oh.
carry it in, put it in the reservoir. You know, at least that'd be lukewarm anyway.
Ours was in the kitchen.
Oh, you were lucky.
So you had a pump
Yeah.
on the
Oh, a
kitchen
little
sink?
pump?
Yeah, but
Oh yeah, some people, we didn't have that.
No, we didn't either.
You were lucky, we weren't.
So when did you get indoor bathrooms?
Well, mine was one of the last ones. My dad couldn't afford it. He said I had to pay the farm first. So, just had to wait.
I don't remember.
mine was
I was
after
at-
44, because I was gone then.
Yeah, it was after I was out of college. And I graduated from college in 1944, 45. So that took care of that.
Who are some of your influences in life? The elders of the town that inspire you or influence your
Artis
life?
Hansen was one of mine.
Okay.
Who?
Artis Hansen.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
There are others too, but
Mhm. I thought a lot of Sam and Minda Hovland. They were my cousin's grandparents. And I thought they were such a nice couple. They'd go to bed early on Saturday night. I can remember we'd still be in town buying groceries. And then I suppose she had the shades up on her window. Here they be on their knees praying and getting ready for bed. And I never forgot that. I thought that was pretty special. And they lived a good life, of course. Yeah.
I would say Vernon and Minda Madison.
Yeah, Margaret Deach
My
is one of
neighbors.
my specialties.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always
And
think-
there's others too.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Just-
But what did you admire about these people?
You're
the
always
way
the
she
same.
lived.
Mhm.
How did
The
she
way-
live that you liked, that you?
Well, just her,
Just-
just her life, I guess, for one thing,
Yeah,
yeah. And the example, she said.
yeah, I guess that's the word you'd use.
Kind.
example.
Mhm.
Mm.
Listened?
Margaret Anderson, of course.
Yeah, I thought of Margaret and Evelyn.
Oh, yeah, they were always the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they had coffee parties. Oh, that was fun. Evelyn's birthday was the 12th of December, and we usually could depend on a nice big party at Anderson's to get ready for Evelyn's birthday on December 12th. So,
Well, during the break, you also mentioned being invited to a birthday party for Mabel Ness, or,
oh, that's for me.
yes,
Her mother invited me,
yes.
invited the kids from town, and I was kind of thankful to be included.
Well, it was more than kids from town.
Oh, yeah, she had kids from school.
It was mostly my class, I think.
I
that
suppose
you
it was,
were
but then
in.
I was kind of the extra one.
Betty and, yeah,
And then I got invited too.
Betty too.
Yeah.
For one
Which
of-
was
For
considered.
one
I
of
have
Mae's
pictures
birthday-
yet. By an old car, an old Chevrolet.
Yeah.
What do you remember about the Centennial area, about 1965? What kind of, they had floats and
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
what kind of
yeah.
activities did they have?
I
Well,
was
you
on-
rode the float. You thought that was pretty great.
I
Yeah.
did too.
Yeah.
Homemakers.
You were younger, so. That was kind of nice.
Fellows had beards, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, they grew them for the
Mhm.
Centennial.
Mhm. Oh, it was just a fun time.
Yeah, it was.
Which reminds me that we used to have 4th of July celebrations.
Mhm.
What do you remember about 4th of July celebrations?
Parades.
A parade, yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And programs in the park.
Yeah, a big program, yeah.
fireworks?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
Over the river.
Kind of
Down the
late.
river. Mhm.
Yeah. That was really special. Oh, they'd go all over the sky. It was so pretty.
But you've been
Being the
doing
news reporter.
News reporter for Sand Creek News in the
Yeah,
Chautauqua
but,
Alert for
It's just ordinary stuff.
30
every
plus
week.
years, right?
Yeah, I think that's something.
Lot of years.
Yeah.
Over the dam.
And you took over, you think it was 30 years, it might have been more than that.
Well, it was about that, yeah.
And you took over for who?
Ona Carlson.
Ona Carlson.
Yeah.
Do you know who did it before that?
No, I don't. No.
Maybe there was no one.
I
It
don't
might
think there
not be.
was. I don't think
And then
so.
I got to put my name in the paper, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Of course, we think that was great to get our name in the paper.
Kept Sand Creek on the map.
Yeah, right.
I think it's true because many
Yeah.
people comment.
Oh, yeah.
You-
Oh,
Sand Creek News or the
yeah.
Gilbert's Motors
Yeah.
still.
oh yeah, and I remember Gilbert's father, George Gilbert, and Rena. Yeah. And then Garfield and Anna, of course.
And Conrad and Ella.
Oh yeah, and they could really put on the programs for those 4th of July programs. What's her name?
Ella,
Ella and her sister
Dina.
Dina Gilbert,
Mhm.
Arnold's wife.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were good. They could do anything.
I think it's true because many
Yeah.
people comment.
Oh,
You-
Oh,
yeah. Sand Creek News or the
yeah.
Gilbert's Motors
Yeah.
still.
oh yeah, and I remember Gilbert's father, George Gilbert, and Rena. Yeah, and then Garfield and Anna, of course.
And Conrad and Ella.
Oh yeah, and they could really put on the programs for those 4th of July programs. What's her name?
Ella,
Ella and her sister
Dina.
Dina Gilbert,
Mhm.
Arnold's wife.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were good. They could do anything. They could kind of drum.
I think we're pretty fortunate
Oh yeah,
to have.
Sand Creek's
You know.
had been a pretty good
Mhm.
place.
Good place to grow up.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have good memories.
But, I don't know anybody here. There's so many people I don't know.
I don't know these new people. No.
My family wants to come back to this area, but they want to live in the country.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if mine will or not. Although Jerry and Sue really like it here.
Yeah, they do.
In the summer.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
but Jerry's a city kid.
Oh, you might.
And I really wondered how it was going to work. Oh, he said, don't worry. He said, what would a city kid love other than come to this
He
area?
seems such a, what should I say, a good sport.
Oh, he is.
Jerry is,
Yeah,
yeah.
he is.
Yeah, he really is, yeah.